Today, we're looking at a black ink by Zenzoi Black. Hi, I'm Adam, and I'm an ink guy. I get inks, test them, and share the results with you. And if you like videos like that, I would invite you to subscribe. You can also follow me on Instagram, and there's timestamps down below so that if you are in a hurry, you can skip around. But if you got the time, I'd appreciate you checking out the entire video. In order to make sure I have a range of experience with this ink, I do the writing samples. I then inked up this Jinhao 51A, wrote with it for a day, and used it to take the notes for this video. This first writing sample is done with a standard set of paper, Clairfontaine, Tomoe River, and Rhodia paper. Now, there are additional writing samples that will occur later. Now, let's look at the writing sample. I picked this ink up in cartridge form, and to keep my writing samples consistent, I use a Jinhao 159 with a Goulet 1.1 stub, a Jinhao X450 with a Goulet medium, and a Jinhao X750 with a Goulet extra fine. Let's take a look at the Clairfontaine. No bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, and no shade. The extra fine is the same tone as the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 16 seconds to dry. Medium is the same tone as the extra fine and the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 24 seconds to dry. And the scrubby for both show no color variation, and we're not getting it in the writing. And Tomoe River. That's not bleed. That's a transfer from the page underneath. There's no bleeding. There's normal Tomoe River ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, and no shade. The extra fine is the same tone as the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 26 seconds to dry. Medium is the same tone as the extra fine with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 46 seconds to dry. Wow. Scrubby for both show us no color variation, and we didn't get any in the writing. And Rhodia, with no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade. The extra fine is the same tone as the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 18 seconds to dry. Medium is the same tone as the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 26 seconds to dry. Scrubby for both show us no color variation, and we didn't get any. I agree with Vita that I've learned a lot by doing multiple chromatographies. The one on the left is done the way it's supposed to be done. I put a line of ink down and immediately put it into water for 10 to 15 seconds. And we see that while it looks like it's entirely moving up, the fact that so much is there that's getting deposited as it's moving, it's actually bonding while it's moving up this filter paper. The one on the right, I let dry for 10 minutes before I dunk it into water. And you see how much of that is actually bonded and stayed in place with that line at the bottom. However, a lot of this is also moving its way up and gathering up at the top, meaning there may be a little bit of resistance with this ink. Resistance tests are done to see how well this ink can be expected to perform on the page, and more importantly, how hard it might be to clean from your pen. I let the smear dry for 3 days before testing it. Looking at the highlighter, I feel perfectly safe using this in a note-taking situation. It's basically unaffected for being highlighted 3 days later. It really had an opportunity to bond with that paper. Now that's not a shocker when you look at water, which had a very little effect. I wouldn't use this if I was going to be watercoloring because the water did start to move some of the ink, but not all of it. Now water was not enough to get this out of my pen. When it came to pen flush, it did about as little as water did. And it did take quite a bit of work with pen flush to get this completely out of my pen. The 1/3 bleach solution, which I did not wind up needing, does not completely remove it from the paper. It does move most all of it, but it's leaving a dark brown staining behind. I test ink viscosity with a tilt test that I'll link somewhere. Now for the inks I've tested, I have found an average viscosity of 2.5, with the realm of normal being from 2.1 to 2.9. Zenzoi Black has a viscosity of 1.92, making it a wet ink. For the inks I've tested, I have found an average dry time of 17 seconds, with the realm of normal being from 13 to 21 seconds. I find this by using my writing samples that were done on Clairfontaine, Tomoe River, and Rhodia paper. Zenzoi Black has an average dry time of 21 seconds, putting it on the very high edge of normal, but still normal. Instead of finding inks that look like Zenzoi Black, I would prefer to find an ink that complements its color on the page. I went for a nice magenta, and I chose the Atramentis Fuchsia. The second writing sample is done on Levenger, Franklin Christoph, and black and red paper. Here we're looking at Levenger paper. Now we get no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, and no shade. The extra fine is the same tone as the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 11 seconds to dry. Medium is the same tone as the extra fine and the stub with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 18 seconds to dry. Now the scrubby for both shows no color variation, and we're not getting any. Franklin Christoph paper with no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, and no shade. The extra fine is the same tone as the stub, with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 9 seconds to dry. Medium is the same tone as the extra fine, with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 15 seconds to dry. Now the scrubby of the extra fine does show a little bit of color variation, a medium shows none, but we didn't get any in the writing. And black and red notebooks, with no bleeding, no ghosting. The 1.1 has no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade. The extra fine is the same tone as the stub, with no feather spread, halo sheen, no shade, 11 seconds to dry. Medium is the same tone as the stub, with no feather spread, halo sheen, or shade, 17 seconds to dry. Scrubby for both shows no color variation. We're not getting it in the writing, and that's all that I have for writing samples. So what do I think of Zenzoi Black? This is a very well-behaved, very nicely performing black ink. It is a winner in their group. It's surprisingly nice. I can see this as being somebody's go-to black ink. What nib and pen are going to give the best writing experience with this ink? This is dealer's choice. It gave such a consistent performance. I was shocked, but it doesn't matter what you use it in. You always get these same nice dark black lines with it. If you've made it this far, and according to my analytics, 50% of you aren't, and you enjoyed it, give me a thumbs up. If you are not subscribed, I would invite you to subscribe, and thanks for watching.